What time is it?
What's that?
What time is it?
7:05, 7:06.
I would say 5 minutes.
Do we want to announce first that we're the classes? Okay. I waved. I don't think this.
You can wave again. Have chairs all around the back here. We're adding chairs. So if you want to sit down, you can. We're probably going to start in about 3 minutes. Oh, 2. Okay, actually, like 1 minute. Thank you.
We're still coming in. So.
Yeah.
Hello. Thank you to everyone here to enjoy strong writing and beautiful art in CU Boulder's Program for Writing and Rhetoric Creative Nonfiction Journal, Hindsight. This is our 3rd annual volume under the new title, and though we've gone international in some of our submissions, we still feature mostly CU students in this issue, and we'll always keep a place for front-range writers in our pages. Every issue would be impossible without the hard work of our all-undergraduate CU student staff. As the advisor for Hindsight and Changing Skies, writing through the climate crisis, which we debuted last fall and is seeking submissions, I have to brag on that incredible staff. They're truly a joy to work with and currently 28 strong. We have not only editors, but art direction and artists, kids learning InDesign for layout and compositing, a growing web team, and working hard just now, our AV director and helpers, as well as business management and the powerhouse marketing department that planned this event. These students, the talented writers and artists they published, and our amazing keynote, Erica Krause, are tonight's stars. So I will soon get out of their way, my favorite thing to do, handing off to our stellar editor-in-chief, Marissa Lang. Marissa joined us as a freshman editorial slush reader on a 1-credit-hour internship a year and a half ago? Not even 2 years ago. Continuing in editorial last fall, Marissa quickly rose up the ranks as an assistant managing editor to become our unanimous choice for editor-in-chief this spring. Marissa inspires everyone, including me, with her tough work ethic, professional communication skills, editorial sensibility, and patient leadership. Please welcome Marissa Lang.
Thank you, Jay. Hello, thank you all for being here tonight for the launch of our third volume of Hindsight. I'm Marissa Lang, the editor-in-chief of Hindsight in our climate change-based journal, Changing Skies. I'm a sophomore studying ecology and evolutionary biology and minoring in statistics who has been with the journals for nearly a year and a half. For over a decade, we have published remarkable art, photography, and creative nonfiction writing. At first, only from CU students, now from writers, artists, and photographers across the globe. We take pride in the quality of submissions we receive and hope to share only the best in each of our editions of the journals. Our newest volume of Hindsight wouldn't be possible without our staff, both new and old. As many of you may notice throughout the night, our staff is made up of students across a large range of academic interests. However, we all come together for one cause, to create the best journals imaginable. Many of our staff are here tonight, so you are all more than welcome to talk with us either about submitting your work, joining staff, or merely the chat. Now, I would like to introduce our keynote guest, Erica Krause. She is a fiction and nonfiction writer. Last year, she published her most recent book, Tell Me Everything, the story of a private investigation, which has been featured as a Book of the Month, Club Pick, New York Times Editor's Choice Pick, and People's Magazine People Pick. In addition to being an Edgar Award nominee, this part memoir, part true crime book that centers around the investigation of sexual assault ingrained in the CU football program has been named Best Nonfiction of 2022 by Bookpage and Kirkus Reviews and Best 10 Books of 2022 by Slate and Jezebel. This exceptionally captivating book can be bought here at the Boulder Book Store. Erica's short fiction has been published in a multitude of journals, including The New Yorker, The Atlantic, and Esquire.com, just to list a few. Please welcome Erica Krause.
Thank you, Marissa, and thanks to all of you for being here. I think the people that maybe were left out of the thank yous were the faculty advisors who really helped all you guys, maybe some of you, get your first publications in this really beautiful, beautiful magazine. So maybe a round of applause for the faculty, as well as the student staff and all the amazing contributors. I am so excited for this evening. I can't even tell you. So first I was asked to do a little short reading. It's gonna be 5-6 minutes. And then to relate it to writing a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read, I have this musical glasses thing going on. I'm gonna read from a section of the book, and this is nonfiction, and this story is about my experience as I was a rookie private investigator who worked on the first, what turned out to be the first ever Title IX sexual assault case. Happened right here in this town in an unspecified university that you might recognize during the beginning of the 21st century. So this scene actually took place right over there, right there, right here in this room. Okay, and this is the second scene in the book. In the fall, and can you hear me okay, by the way? Yeah, okay. In the fall of 2002, I was living in the Front Range foothills of the Colorado Rocky Mountains in a small city that hosted a university and a swarm of tech startups. I met an attorney in a bookstore there because we were both reaching for the same Paul Auster novel. We withdrew, laughed, chatted briefly about the author and books, and then he started telling me about his life. He wasn't complaining, just reporting. He said, "I'm a partner in the kind of law firm I've always dreamed of, but I'm beginning to hate it." The man looked like a lawyer. He was about 20 years older than me, my height, and a cornflower blue button-down shirt that matched his eyes so exactly he must have bought it for that purpose. But his hunched shoulders betrayed misery, and his arms flapped at his sides like he had no use for them anymore, but he just didn't know how to shed them. The man said, "Or maybe I'm just sick of it. My job, my life. I don't know if what I'm doing has any meaning anymore. I'm thinking about leaving my law firm, maybe even leaving the practice of law altogether." Then he stopped, shocked. He said, "Wait, what?" I said. He said, "I've never told anybody this stuff." "It's okay," I said. But he scanned the stacks, unable to meet my gaze, and his voice cracked. He said, "What did you do? What's happening?" I said, don't worry, people tell me secrets all the time. He said, I don't even know who you are. He jabbed an index finger in the air between us. He said, my partners can't know, this is confidential stuff. I said, I won't tell anyone. He still looked upset, so I said, it's not you, it's just my face. It does that. People tell me things. I'm sorry. He said, people tell you things like this? The man's expression slowly changed as he regarded me as if I had suddenly gone on clearance. Then he said, come work for me. What? I'm offering you a job. He now looked relaxed, expansive. He leaned back against the books in the B section, right over there. What kind of job, I asked. I was afraid he was about to say something dirty. But instead he said, you can investigate my lawsuits for me, PI work, talk to witnesses, get them to open up. The idea was amazing, getting paid money for what usually ended up happening anyway. The man told me his name, Grayson. He said, if you got that stuff out of me, you can get anything out of anyone. Then he named a generous hourly rate, 5 times what I was earning as a temp for a pharmaceutical company. At that point in my life, I was destitute, despite the fact that I had made it. I was a 33-year-old fiction writer. The year before I met this man, I'd had a short story published in The New Yorker. My collection of stories had come out with a major New York publisher. My book won a prize Toni Morrison had won 10 years before. Wasn't it supposed to get easier once you got published? Instead, I was already forgotten and even more broke than before. I felt cheated by my own fantasies. My apartment was the size and shape of a one-car garage, chalky white and garden, basement level. There was no garden, nor air conditioning, nor a thermostat. I ate cheap food, which gave me daily stomach cramps. My bed was a nearly clean mattress I'd found leaning against a dumpster. I was living with my decision to forego some safe, progressively lucrative career in exchange for any time I could snatch, and I'm realizing right now I'm scaring a lot of you, so you won't turn out like me. I had been temping for 2 years. That week I was doing data entry and wearing a white name tag that said temp, although sometimes people called me the new Linda. It was an upgrade from my last temp job 2 weeks before as a receptionist at a large medical practice where they refused to give me a chair because they couldn't spare one from the crowded waiting room. I had to stand for 8 hours a day, crouched over their black 18-line phone to transfer calls, and my back and ego still hurt from it. That year was the worst of a multi-year drought that plagued 5 western states. In the summer, 16 fires had erupted across the state in the space of a few months. The flames were mostly ignited by lightning strikes on dry, beetle-killed lodgepole pines, except for one from a coal seam fire that had been burning underground since 1910. That's the one, actually, that they think started the Marshall Fire recently. All the fires killed 9 firefighters and burned a total of almost 430,000 acres of forest in one summer, and some fires still burned into that autumn. Grayson's clothes smelled dry clean, but mine reeked of the mottled, unlaunderable campfire-like smoke, as did the books we held in our hands. There's no rain. This, Grayson's offer, felt like rain. I kept a running list of all the jobs I wanted to hold in my lifetime, but never believed I could. Private investigator was number 2, right after writer, and before about 17 other jobs that included composer, food critic, and for some reason, cobbler. Crime excited me in the abstract. I'd wanted to be a PI ever since I read my first Dashiell Hammett book. I wanted to help people and find things out, not necessarily in that order. I wanted to be the one who could walk into a room and know what happened there. I loved secrets, especially terrible ones. When people told me things, I felt happy. The more they didn't want to tell me that secret, the happier I felt when they did. Secret information was something I earned at a cost, someone else's cost. I could hoard that intelligence and never lose it. It was one of the few things in the world that was entirely mine. Even if I hadn't wanted the job, I would have taken it anyway. I was used to accepting any employment offered, regardless of how I felt about it. Lie to creditors? Sure. Lie about our money-back guarantee? Sure. Lie about the doctor's nooner whereabouts to his wife as she jiggles a screaming toddler covered in chickenpox? Sure, absolutely, you bet. So I didn't even ask this lawyer about the cases or what I'd have to do to extract the confessions he was talking about. It didn't matter. He wanted me, so I would take the job. But this Grayson person seemed like a nice guy, so I said, I have to make this clear. I don't have any experience as a private investigator. Grayson grinned. Perfect, he said. Okay. So, thank you. Thank you. So unless there are any pressing questions, I thought I don't have a whole lot of time, and I want to get to the main event of these amazing readers who pretty soon are going to come up here and do what I'm doing right now. So I want to talk a little bit about writing and writing nonfiction. So again, like I said, this happened here. And when this event happened, as well as all the other events that happened, if you had told me, you're going to write a book about this someday, I would have laughed. I just thought I was getting a job that might not even materialize and might not even be real, right? So I wasn't, I was paying attention because I wanted to pay attention to things, but I wasn't paying attention with the kind of laser focus that you might need to remember something 20 years later, right? And my point is that that's happening for you guys all the time as writers. You're living your lives and you're doing things. You're maybe getting an ice cream cone, or you're coming to this badass reading at this very full bookstore. And maybe you're going to write about this 20 years later, 30 years later, or 1 year later, or maybe you're going to go home tonight, right? But you can't write about it if you don't pay attention, And I don't mean pay attention like look at your phone and yeah, I know what's going on and I'm multitasking, or I'm thinking about this assignment that's due tomorrow, or I'm hungry, or whatever you're thinking, right? Or am I going to do well in my reading? I know some of you are probably thinking about it right now, like am I going to stutter? But unless you're really paying attention, you can't remember anything. If you can't remember it, you can't write about it, right? So there's this phrase in Japanese. It goes, some of you might have heard this. It's ichigo ichie. How many of you have heard this phrase? Anyone? One, a couple. So what it means is one meeting, one lifetime. And the idea is that, we could all come here tomorrow. It would be really strange if we did that, but we could all come here at the same time, sit in these same chairs, but it wouldn't be the same as tonight. Tonight is a unique experience. For some people, they're reading their work aloud for the first time. Some people, they've never been published before, and they're looking at their work in this beautiful journal and saying, I'm a published writer. I can say that about myself now. I can call myself a writer. It's a unique experience, and we're all here to support that. So this experience right now is never going to happen again. And if you think about it that way, I want to ask you, are you noticing it? Are you paying attention? And I don't mean just paying attention to the fact of it. I mean, are you noticing what it feels like to sit here, what the air feels like, what the colors are, and how they're affecting you? Are you noticing your clothes on your skin? Are you noticing the vibe? Are you noticing each other? Are you noticing the smells? And are you noticing the sounds? Besides my annoying yap, are you noticing the ambient noise behind that? You hear that? There's a note. Right? Are you noticing that? Are you noticing what it feels like to be here in this moment with this group of people at this time? As writers, that's our job. And as people, that's our job, because this is the stuff of our lives, right? So I invite you to bring that same attention to these writers tonight, to these people who are doing the very brave thing of, first of all, expressing their voices, to telling the truth about their lives, and then coming up here and sharing it out of their goodness with all of us. Please give them that kind of attention that you give to your own experience as well. So I'm so excited to hear that. I don't want to take up too much time. I'm so excited to hear these stories tonight. I promise to give you that same attention. Thank you for having me here, and I welcome the first. Are you going to introduce everybody, Jay, or who should I call up? Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have new staffers each time.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, and let's all pay attention.
Hi, everyone, and thanks again to Erica for coming out and sharing her time with us. Sorry. My name is Campbell Watson, and this spring I was given the opportunity to act as the managing editor for this third edition of Hindsight. I'm a senior here at CU, majoring in ecology and evolutionary biology with a minor in geography. This is my first semester working on the journal. Managing the selection process for Hindsight has been as rewarding as it has been difficult. We receive an unyielding array of high-quality writing submissions every year, each one telling a true and powerful story. I truly wish I could share them all with you here today. We are so grateful for everyone who has taken the time to share their writing with us, and even more so for those who have had to put up with our editorial team's suggestions, comments, and feedback. I really hope that you all enjoy the collection of stories and artwork that we have worked so hard to publish here for you tonight. With that, I have the pleasure of welcoming our first reader, Delia Sherman. She's in her first... Come on up, Delia, come on.
Hi, my name is Delia Sherman, and this is an excerpt from my piece, Rabbits Don't Know Easter. There used to be this rabbit. Every now and then, my brother and I would see it lounging on the bright green neighborhood lawns. It wasn't a normal wild rabbit, more of a bunny than a rabbit, really. We presumptuously labeled him a he because we were kids and because we were already good friends with him in our heads, looked like someone's abandoned Easter gift or escaped pet, with his lush chestnut brown fur and his plump cheeks, his round eyes that exuded calm domestication whenever a toddler or a little dog attempted to befriend him. We waved every time we passed him sitting comfortably in the grass, a semi-constant character in the background of our lives. We named him the Nut Brown Hare. Eventually, Nut Brown Hare stopped showing up, hopefully taken in by a new owner, but more likely fallen victim to another less fortunate scenario. We didn't think much of his absence. He wasn't meant for an outdoor lifestyle, to be fair. He was an indoor rabbit. I've heard of this phenomenon where animal shelters get this huge influx of abandoned rabbits a couple of months after Easter. After the novelty of the holiday mascot has worn off and families realize the true responsibilities of owning a pet. We hypothesized that this might have been this might have been Nut Brown Hare's origin and what eventually led to his end. Ironically, the day of Jesus' resurrection became Nut Brown Hare's death sentence. Nut Brown Hare didn't even know what Easter was. My family's Easter celebrations never involved impulsive rabbit adoptions, but rather the customary suburban egg hunt and an extra long church service, which meant wearing an uncomfortable pastel dress and visiting family from out of town. I grew up in a household of drastically differing ideologies that peacefully coexisted through some form of willing cognitive dissonance on the part of my parents. Both from the grand emptiness and rich rural culture of South Dakota, my mom and dad saw eye to eye on most topics. Most topics, that is, except for religion. Dad, having grown up just off the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation with his Oglala Lakota family, saw himself as spiritual but not religious, maintaining that any organized religion must be a cult. My mom, Scandinavian if you look far enough up on the family tree, grew up Catholic and decided to raise her children Catholic as well, which Dad never seemed to take an issue with. Every Sunday morning, Mom, my brother, and I would hop in the car and drive to St. Mark's Catholic Church. As the car delivered me to my hour of boredom, I would watch the houses fly past, observing ladies walking their dogs and the rabbits dotting their lawns. At that time, I never wondered why Dad didn't go to church with us. It was just another fact of life. Rabbits belong on neighborhood lawns, and Dad doesn't go to church. Thank you.
Thank you, Delia. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Calvert, the Assistant Managing Editor of Hindsight and Changing Skies. I'm a sophomore double majoring in English education. I began working with the journals in January of this year. If you're a CU student and we've happened to win you over tonight and you're considering joining the journals, let me tell you about all the ways you can do that. We welcome all CU undergrads and have various credit options. If you're an upperclassman, you can take the practicum course Writing 3090 for 1 to 3 credit hours. If you're not up for the commitment of the practicum or you're an underclassman, don't worry, there's still options for you. You can take a 1 to 3 credit hour upper or lower division internship. I'm currently on staff as a 2 credit hour upper division intern. We also offer volunteer opportunities for those graduate students who are feeling left out right now and for those who want to be involved but have intense commitment issues. Additionally, we have tons of different departments you can be a part of: editorial, art, marketing, business, and web design, just to name a few. Though I've been on staff for a short 3-ish months, I've gained so much: invaluable communication, leadership, and teamwork skills, friendships, a free trip to Seattle, a basic grasp of Microsoft Word. But genuinely, I can't emphasize enough what an incredible learning experience it has been to be a part of these journals. We're all about growth, not perfection, so regardless of your major or your prior experience, if you're interested in what we do at the journals, we'd love to have you. Another reason to consider joining staff is that Writing 3090 and the internships count towards the writing certificate offered by CU's program for writing and rhetoric. So, while the journals can just be something you do, for the skills, friendships, and overloaded email inbox you will gain, it can also be something that helps you earn a certificate to add to your degree. And now, I'd like to introduce our next reader, Eric Hovland, a CU senior studying environmental design. Please flip to page 69 to follow along as Eric makes us laugh with his piece, The Debate.
Hello, my name is Eric Hovland. Real quick, I just wanted to say thank you to the team for putting this together, and thank you all for coming. I'll be reading a section from my piece called The Debate. Failure is a part of everyone's life. For some of us, it's most of our life. But the amount and degree of failure is not what matters. In the end, it's how you respond to that failure that matters. In 2016, the world suffered a great loss. My promising career as a bench-warming second-string free safety on my high school football team had just been brought to a screeching halt. Well, it wasn't so much my career being brought to a halt as it was my entire body, courtesy of a 250-pound high school sophomore who celebrated his victory by toppling onto my arm, breaking it instantly. It quickly became apparent that I would no longer be able to play football for at least the remainder of the season. This truly devastated the rest of the team, who responded by replacing me immediately. But, like I said, it's not the failure that matters, it's how you respond to it. And my response was joining the debate team. Like they always say, sticks, stones, and 250-pound sophomores may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. If you aren't familiar with high school debate teams, picture a group of incredibly insufferable people howling incoherently at each other over something that doesn't matter. Naturally, I'd fit right in. Granted, I had a lot to learn. On my first day, my coach walked up and slapped a massive stack of paper down on the table in front of me. Here's the brief on the new topic. It's about nuclear power. Start reading. I was horrified. That's like 200 pages. My complaint was met with little more than a wry chuckle. More like 327. Better get started. As I quickly learned, debate is voluntary homework. It requires the participants to research and prepare a case to argue both sides of a contentious issue. It's a complicated process of creating solid arguments that you must also be prepared to counter in a challenging game of intellectual rock, paper, scissors. And when you're an idiot like me, the difficulty multiplies. But eventually, I managed to get my feet under me, and with my freshly minted cases, I was on my way to my first debate tournament. My confidence fled the first day of the tournament. Waddling down foreign hallways in an ill-fitting suit, searching desperately for the tournament room, did not feel like the glorious comeback I had imagined. I had been assigned the affirmative side of the debate, arguing in favor of the mass adoption of nuclear power, also my weaker side. Alas, it was far too late for cowardice. I gathered the few scraps of courage within my soul and entered the room. I was immediately met by the piercing stare of my opponent. It was as if she had known I would enter at that exact moment. That look in her eyes, pure, undiluted hatred, so intense it stopped me dead in my tracks. A tense moment passed before her hateful glare vanished, replaced with an unreadable mask as her focus shifted to the large stack of paper in front of her. Wordlessly, I crept to the table next to her to begin setting up my case, stealing looks to try to gather information. It was not good news. She wore a full suit, far nicer than mine, and more importantly, it actually fit. Her hair was pulled back so tightly it looked like she had glued it down to her scalp. She was a career politician, prepared for the greatest debate of her life, and I was two kids stacked on top of each other in a trench coat, lost while sneaking into the movie theater. For the sake of time, I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Hello, everyone. My name is Ian Hall. I'm an anthropology major in my junior year, and I'm the assistant editor-in-chief of Hindsight. This year marks our 10th anniversary of continued creative nonfiction print issues, starting back in 2013 with our title, Journal 2020. In that time, the journal has only grown, accepting international submissions, expanding our online presence, and attending conferences for various publication agencies all across the country, as well as starting an entirely brand new print title. As Emily mentioned, this semester we took the journal to Seattle for AWP, the Association for Writers and Writing Programs. There we met tons of authors with incredible talents and got our journals into the hands of over 500 of them. Being on Hindsight staff via the internship or the practicum allows students with an amazing array of opportunities and skill building opportunities, including the fulfilling credit for the Writing and Public Engagement minor, which is available through the program for Writing and Rhetoric. The minor is open to non-English majors and allows students to have hands-on experience with everything from the design, production, and distribution of various kinds of publications. And it's a fantastic experience for anyone wanting to get more involved with this kind of work. I can speak from experience in saying that my experience on the journal has allowed me incredible opportunities in both a professional and academic sense. It's one of my most incredibly cherished opportunities that I've ever had a chance to engage with here at CU, and I highly recommend anyone vaguely interested to shoot us an email, let us know what you think, and maybe join some staff. Now our next reader is a CU undergraduate studying political science and women and gender studies. Her piece, Blue Fish, touches on the challenges of learning to know oneself. Please turn to page 54 and join me in welcoming Delaney Hartman.
Thank you, Ian. My name is Delaney Hartman. I will be reading an excerpt from my story called Blue Fish. I am 8 years old in 3rd grade. During my time in elementary school, I have learned that boys and girls are different. Boys are good at sports and girls are good at crafts. Boys are strong and girls are sweet. I stand on the sidelines while the boys play soccer, even though I just got new cleats. I keep my hands in my lap, even when I know the answer to the teacher's question. I stay quiet when one boy bullies another, even though I know it's wrong. I am 11 in middle school. I let the boy in Spanish class lead our presentation, even though I practiced for longer. I sing quietly in choir, even when I know all the words. I hear that boys are better at math than girls. I am 16 in high school. I don't speak up when a boy grabs a girl's ass without consent. I let it slide when a teacher makes a sexist comment. I learn to question myself. I'm 21, and I meet with my therapist every week. Our topics of conversation change frequently, but there is a common thread. I want to know, how do I unlearn my cultural conditioning? I tell my therapist that I don't want to be small or quiet or demure. I want to be a woman who takes up space, speaks her mind, and is confident in herself. This process of unlearning is slow, and it is not linear. But over time, a sense of rebellion builds up inside me, and it fuels my confidence. It becomes easier to take up space and speak my mind. I raise my hand during lectures, and I stand up for people who need an ally. I feel increasingly comfortable demanding respect. Sometimes my confidence falters. I tell myself that I'm too bossy, or too opinionated, or too bold. But I am reminded by my therapist, my mother, and my friends that these are words given to women who can't be controlled. I do not want to be controlled.
Thank you, Delaney, for that great piece. I'm Ethan Geiger. I'm the director of the AV department here at Hindsight. Now that you've heard it from at least 3 other people, I'm going to say it one more time. You should totally join staff. It's really fun, especially in the AV department. We put on the live stream for people to view this launch event at home. We make videos about all the activities that go on at the journal, and we do a podcast called The Snapped Branch. It's a lot of fun. So if you want to learn more about making a journal, collaborating with other people, having professional experience making videos and live streams, well, the live stream's slightly unprofessional, but it's fine. It's under control, mostly. Then you should reach out to someone who's working at the journal tonight, or you can go to our website. So with that shameless promotion out of the way, get ready for the USS Rhode Island on page 89, written by our former staff member who passed all our blind review processes. Here is Edward Kincaid.
Thanks for the introduction, Ethan. Hello, my name is Edward Kincaid, and I'll be reading my piece, The USS Rhode Island. Flip to the middle of page 89 to follow along. I keep the blinds down most of the time. I used to only do it when I napped, but now I'm pretty much always pre or post nap, if I'm awake. So it's more efficient just to keep them down. It gives the place a spooky aura. It's atmospheric, like my own haunted house. complete with cobwebs and poor ventilation. I should charge $3.50 upon entry and leave a bowl of Kit Kats on the doorstep. The darkness can be a bit depressing, but I feel like the energy saved by the blinds, coupled with the palliative effect of the soothing dark, more than makes up for it. Plus, it makes things look cleaner. Everything looks better in the dark. That's why Hollisters look like they're lit by tallow candles and rush lights. That's partly why I never let the shades up. My house just looks better when it's dark. You can't see the pile of cans overflowing out of my trash can. You can't see the ramen noodle crumbs on the counter. You can't see the sink full of crusty dishes. You can't see the Chick-fil-A bag full of trash half shoved under my couch. Again, sorry to my gay friends for the Chick-fil-A. I might as well make a craft run to Hobby Lobby just to get the hat trick. No, I never want to let the blinds up. Then I would see the mess I've made, and I might even have to deal with it. Besides, I'm out of dish soap and trash bags, and I have no plans for restocking. Sometimes I feel like offing myself just so I don't have to go to Target in sweatpants and slippers again. The annoyingly telegenic door greeter beaming at me, "Welcome to Target, sir," with her fucking white teeth and khakis. I think I'll just keep the blinds down. The packaging called them Venetian blinds. Venetian blinds, as if Scamozzi whittled each individual slat and had Da Vinci sign off on their design. Such a term just seems too highfalutin to denote something made out of maquiladora sweat and beige plastic. Maybe if they were gilt or had a few naked sibyls painted on them, then I could countenance such an appellation. But as it is, they look less Venetian blinds than they do a cost-saving measure by a miserly landlord. I think keeping the blinds down makes me stronger. Like, you know how blind people are supposed to have a stronger sense of hearing and smell or whatnot? I feel like my spatial awareness and auditory capabilities are increasing. So really, it can only be detrimental to let the blinds up. If I keep going like this for a few more years, then maybe I'll develop a kind of spidey sense. Like if someone is about to throw a punch, then I'll just dodge it, and scissor kick them in the throat. I'll be able to feel things coming thanks to my self-imposed blindness. Homer, that guy was blind, and he wrote the Iliad. Or did he just tell it being an oral tradition and all? Either way, the old cadre didn't need to see to be a success. Justice. Justice is blind too. And everybody demands justice. They don't always get it, ACAB anyone, but they certainly demand it. Really, letting the blinds up could only harm me. I'm a big proponent of adding a candy coating to SSRIs. Maybe some chocolate too. I think it would decrease rates of depression. I'm not saying all SSRIs should have a thin candy shell, but there should be an option. I know that if I had some chocolate and nougat to look forward to, then I would probably remember to take mine more often. It would be something to look forward to. But as it is right now, taking my little blue friends is, maybe ironically, one of the more depressing parts of my day, which is kind of funny now that I write it down. Sometimes I'll try to sneak it into a mustard sandwich, or shove it down between gulps of a coffee mate-laden Folgers Classic Roast, but I never look forward to it. Maybe they should just start putting it in the water. Like how you hear me out. Since the John Birch Society, probably won't do that much. So maybe it's not such a great idea to SSRIs the water supply. But it would certainly help me. Maybe we could bake it into Wonder Bread, or randomly throw a few pills into every Sweet Tarts packet. I'm gonna cut it off there. Thanks.
Hello again. To wrap up our night of readings, here's Joan McAnill, a CU undergrad studying musical theater, with her piece, To Emma. Their piece was dedicated to their twin sister. Please open to page 33 to read along.
Hello. My name is Joan McInhill. I will be performing a cut of my piece. I will be moving from the middle of 33 to the bottom of 34. Siblinghood is a fickle thing. Each sibling grows at their own pace, or they don't. Each finds their own interests, or they don't. And each has the freedom to be their own person, or they don't. They are hopelessly intertwined, and every decision that one makes will irreversibly affect the other. maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. More than that, we are twins. We are imperfect halves of each other, and everything we say and do reflects upon the other. The lives that we live will never be separate from each other, and I want you to know, I don't want them to change. I care about you more than anything. Get your own life. Why are we always seen together on the tips of people's tongues? You're the most important person in my life. I love you. Dad's always easier to talk to. Says you. Am I wrong? Well, he'd be easier to talk to for you. I feel like he hates me most of the time. Well, I don't think he likes me all that much. He took you halfway across the state so you could go to an aquarium together. And he looks at me like I'm a stranger when I ask him for help around the house. I hate how different we are. The amount of time that he invests in you and your interests makes me so happy I could just throw up. I've spent so many nights crying my eyes out because my dad threatened to hit me when I asked him if he could play catch with me. I wanted that cliche experience with him, and I couldn't even get that. And now we can't even say anything bad about him because of his condition, but I'm so tired. He just doesn't like me. He never has, and I'm tired of pretending that it's okay. I want my dad to act like small talk with me isn't the deepest we're ever going to get. Let me spend some time with him. Let him realize that he messed up with me, and that's why I flinch whenever a man raises his voice. Let me just have that. I know Mom is better with me than she is with you, but not by much. I know how to talk to her, and I know how to talk to you, but neither of you know how to do that for each other. I'm a bona fide translator in my own childhood home because of the disconnect between mother and daughter. I'm sorry. Parents suck. But you don't. We might have our differences, the way we fight, who we like and who we talk about over lunch, our taste in music, what we want to do with our lives, the way we show love, the way we don't, but you'll always be my sister. There will never be anyone I'm more willing to confide in. No one can match your skills with a rolling pin. No one else who I can communicate with sans words. No one who understands the joy and hardship of having our parents in our lives. Ultimately, you're my other half. I'd say you're the better half, and then you'd say the opposite, and then the argument wouldn't get us anywhere. Being siblings with you is hard. You know what? You couldn't be anyone else. Hey. Yeah? You know I love you, right? Yeah, I do. I love you too. Thank you.
Hello again. I'm Jay Ellis, by the way. Thanks, Joan, for a great reading, and all our other readers. Thank you all for coming to our launch. Thanks to Mindy Slaughter, Lyndon Nacita, and Andrew Gillenwater in the PWR front office for their hard work and support of both our journals, and to the new PWR director, John Stevenson. Most of all, thanks to all the writers and artists featured in this issue. Everybody, don't forget to take your free copy of Hindsight 3. Good night.
I would just like to quickly note, we have a couple of copies back here. If you don't have one yet, I can also grab one for you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's hard to get to them, isn't it?